and one more to go from Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Second round action of the Conference USA Championships. On the men's side of things, the UAB Blazers, thought to be a dark horse in the tournament, taking on the Rice Owls with a spot in the semifinals on the line. Here's the current situation in Conference USA. Florida Atlantic, the top seed, with a blowout win over Western Kentucky earlier in the afternoon. Middle Tennessee storms their way back to upset Charlotte 66-65. Maybe not an upset in terms of seeding, but in terms of the net rankings, certainly the case. North Texas currently playing Louisiana Tech on Court A. And then we've got a fun one in just a couple moments between UAB and Rice. Alongside Chris Mykowski, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Quincy Oliveri, one of the top players in this conference, second team all-conference honoree. He showed why in the first round win over UTSA.
Great joy to watch last night. Nearly picked up a double-double in that first round game. 18 points, 8 rebounds. On the other side, Jelly Walker, probably the most anticipated player to watch in this tournament. Last season's player of the year, back on the all-conference first team again this season. Third in the nation in scoring at just over 23 points per game.
This UAB team winning the Conference USA tournament a year ago. Jordan Jelly Walker was a huge part of that. He led the conference in scoring in the regular season. He also led the conference in three-point makes. He had 41 points in their final regular season game as we lead into this matchup between UAB and Rice. Delighted you've joined us here on this Thursday night. We are underway with the Blazers wearing the white uniforms. They'll go from left to right on your screen. The Rice Owls and the Road Navies, they will go from right to left. UAB and Rice meeting for the 24th all-time series. UAB leading that all-time series 20-3. They won the most recent matchup between these two, 85-57. As Walker wastes no time getting a shot attempt in. This one rims out, and it'll go to Rice.
These look a little darker than their usual navies. Aren't they kind of more of a blackout, special feeling? And when do you wear black? To a funeral, trying to end UAB's season.
We got intense real quick. It does look like they are a little bit darker. Very nice look for the Rice Owls. They don't wear the black uniforms very often. And that's exactly what it is. A little midnight blue for the Owls. Max Fiedler with his first touch on the offensive side. He runs the offense for this Rice Owls team. We'll talk plenty about Fiedler as we continue. Evie trapped underneath, and because of that, it's a turnover. A defensive stop for both Rice and UAB to get us started.
Valuing every possession. Every coach will tell you that here in tournament time. But keep that together. The first possession could matter just as much as the last.
Walker working to the left side, wanting the screen from Jimison. Work back to the top with Ty Brewer. Brewer hits the three from the free throw line, extended, and that's how the Blazers get things started on the scoring end. Mason down the Fiedler. He'll back down. Ty Brewer into the paint he goes. Great job by Brewer of standing strong and forcing the pass out wide. Just 6 to shoot. One-handed sling down low to Fiedler. It's kicked out of bounds by Jimison. Just 3 to shoot for Rice.
Scott Para leading this Rice Owl program. He's labeled it Green Light U. Go, go, go all the time in Houston.
And they do just that. Makai Mason off the inbound, drills the three. And Mason, who has been phenomenal over his last 2 games. He had 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists in the win against UTSA. That was a 72-71 thriller where a buzzer beater for the Roadrunners at the end of the game was called off because he didn't have the release until after the buzzer sounds.
Andy Kennedy, 3rd season at UAB, back at his alma mater after becoming the winningest coach in Ole Miss history, twice named the Southeastern Conference Coach of the Year.
Crafty move inside for Taven Lovin, the senior out of Franklin, Kentucky.
putting UAB back on top by 1. Here goes Fiedler, left side. Dribble handoff to Oliveri. Still has not put up a shot attempt. Nearly cuffed that one up. And he goes into the backcourt. Over and back violation. Scott Para thought the ball was tipped, but he'll plead his case to an empty party.
The look on Para's face on the other end. It's like, what? What just happened? We got some animated, great faces from him yesterday in the late stages, especially in the end, watching that official review take place with his team's season hanging in the balance.
And both UTSA and Rice, in those final moments following what looked to be a buzzer beater, or what was called a buzzer beater on the floor initially, then overturned. Those were anxious moments for about 3 or 4 minutes. Here's Mason looking for his second triple, left it short. Fell to the floor, wanted a foul call, didn't get it. Jemison clears out some space. Off the transition bucket, UAB up by 6 early.
Took a while for Fiedler to get back, and if he's not in the picture, Jemison has free reign down low.
Great feed. Jelly Walker to find Jemison in transition. Here's another fast break. They give it to Walker. Walker, plenty okay, settling for the transition jumper. Off the mark. Now Fiedler with numbers. Corner, Mason, pump fake. He'll drive on the short corner. Nice job by Jemison to draw the foul going the other way.
Jelly Walker, so dangerous from anywhere on the floor. Down low to Jemison for the bucket.
That's part of why he is a first-team all-conference honoree. He was player of the year last year. 23 points per game, 3 rebounds, but 4 assists. He's not just a scorer, but he's a facilitator. When he's on the floor, you have to space as a defense, or else things can really get dicey. Walker, two-handed feed to Brewer, who has the reset up top. KJ Buffett will take it on the right side on Fiedler all the way to the hole. Offensive foul as the charge is drawn, this time by Cameron Sheffield.
Was able to back off Fiedler, but Sheffield able to hold his ground. 11 points yesterday for the sophomore from Alpharetta.
First foul called against the Blazers in the midst of a 7-0 run to jump out to this 9-3 early lead, and fighting for the basketball again. Davis pulls that one away. Now it's down low to Ty Brewer. Had it blocked by Max Fiedler.
That length from Fiedler on display. Such a dynamic player. Had an ankle injury that bothered him throughout the last few weeks of this season. Didn't get back to practice until arriving here in Frisco earlier this week.
You can see on that possession just how he can affect an offense. 9-5 in the early going. Fiedler, #1 nationally in the field goal efficiency, 72% from the floor. And he is quite a ways from the next best on that list nationally. Early start for UAB, controlling the paint as the Blazers lead it by 6. The Conference USA Men's and Women's Championships is brought to you by Total Care, where lives are transformed. Blazers looking on after an 11-5 start over the Rice Owls on Court B. 2 simultaneous courts of action going on at the Conference USA Championships. This is game 8 of the day in this building, if you can believe it or not. It is a busy week, but a fun one with Chris Mikoski. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Now, Chris, 2 of the more unique players in the conference going at each other. Max Fiedler for Rice, talk about efficiency, assist, catalyzing an offense. And then on the other side, it's Jordan Jelly Walker and what he can bring to the table from a scoring standpoint, putting up 41 in that regular season finale.
Jelly just such a dynamic, quick scorer. He can get to the rack so often and put the ball through in so many different ways. Top 5 in the nation in scoring, and somebody that certainly, if UAB can punch his ticket to March Madness, somebody you could see as being one of those heroes on the big stage.
And they went to the big dance last year, 12 seed UAB after a 27-win season and a Conference USA tournament title. Currently ranked in the top 60 in the net, so probably not near an at-large bid. They would have to run the table in the tournament. A lot of analysts around the league and experts around college basketball believe this Blazers team is strong enough to make that run as Fiedler works his way open on the low block. But UAB in that first-round matchup, they fell to now what is the #1 team in the country, the Houston Cougars, who made it all the way to the Elite Eight in last year's tournament, 82-68 in that first-round matchup.
Well, according to pretty much anybody that's talking about this Conference USA tournament, if the Blazers are going to pull an upset and pick up this title for back-to-back seasons, it's going to be on the back of Jelly Walker. And if they do it, it'll be the third time they've won this championship. They did it again back in 2015. So winning 2 straight be pretty impressive.
Jordan Walker very easily could have been named Player of the Year again in the conference for Coach Andy Kennedy. Two will have a conversation. Instead, that award went to Tyler Perry of North Texas. Also very much so deserving in what he's done with the Mean Green this season, and Grant McCaslin. Max Fiedler could be in that conversation next year with both Perry and Walker elevating out of the Conference USA ranks. And Fiedler set to return to Rice. Knocks down the first free throw, and the second one a little short. Gaines has checked in for the first time for UAB. Started 23 games earlier in the season for the Blazers. Now he'll drive right side, spins away, and basically had nowhere to go with the ball. Gave it up on the turnover.
That looked like Gaines was in no man's land there.
Speaking of no man's land, look at where Travis Eby shot this basketball. He could have high-fived Andy Kennedy as soon as he let the ball go.
6-0 run for Rice over the past minutes. Pull within 1.
Rice averaging 9 threes a game, second most in Conference USA. He's top 35 nationally. They settle with the 3. That's really where their identity lies. Locked it. Fiedler underneath. Extra pass to Oliveri. And Rice has retaken the lead here in the early going.
It looked like Oliveri to Fiedler for the easy lay-in, but they go back and forth, and one way or another they were going to put it through.
That one blocked potentially underneath. Kusanovic had a hand on it. Now Eby will bring it past half court. An 8-0 run for the Rice Owls, who've made their last 4 from the field, including Eby's long 3-point make. He'll go from left to right. Cut off on the free throw line, extended. Back to Fiedler. 6 to shoot for Sheffield. He'll spot a straightaway 3 off the front iron. And Walker fouled off the fast break.
8-0 run for Rice. This lasted nearly 2 minutes. Eby spotting up from well beyond that 3-point line, then down low. Oliveri to Fiedler, back to Oliveri for the bucket.
The efficiency off the charts for both of these teams. Rice, 3rd in the conference in points per game. UAB pacing the conference in that category with 82 points per game. So if you come to see offense, stick around. You're going to see plenty of it here over the next 12 and a half minutes of the first, and then, of course, into the second half as well. A couple fouls here against Rice, this time against Sheffield, his first. Kai Mason, starter for the Owls, picked up a couple early fouls, and he's since been rotating in and out of the ball game to avoid possibly picking up that 3rd. Levin sees this one rattle out off the front iron. David Levin, the senior out of Franklin, Kentucky. In that game against Charlotte, it was career game number 138 with the Blazers. 5th season with the team. His first one really coming off the bench for much of the campaign. So he has been listed as a starter over the last couple games. That one nearly tipped away by Tony. And it does end up leaking out of bounds right in front of the Blazers bench. Last touched by Era Gaines.
That games played record for Lovin, one of those that's unbreakable. Now, so many of these longevity records, thanks to the extra year of eligibility after the 2021 season. No way to catch him.
No way to catch him, no way to slow down Travis Evie. Seemingly here in this first half, another long three. One of his favorite spots on the floor. An 11-0 run for Rice over the last 2.5 minutes. Brewer trying to end the run, not this time as he left it short again. Rice up by 4 over the higher seed UAB. Blazers came out red hot. The Owls have weathered the storm. Husseinovic in the short corner, guarded by Lovett. He'll dump it off on the short skip pass. Now Kuche underneath. Last touched by Brewer. Will send us to a timeout on the floor. 11:28 left to play in the first. The Owls flying high thanks to Travis Evie. NBA range here in Frisco. Maybe Blazers, and then the top seed in the conference, top 25 Middle Tennessee with a win over Charlotte. So there's the semifinals tomorrow. The women's bracket gets started at 4:30 local time, 5:30 Eastern with Middle Tennessee, team that finished the regular season in the top 25 AP poll, but they will be met with quite the challenge of that UTEP Miners Ball Club.
The women's side gets the primetime slots tomorrow.
Love it.
So do you and I, buddy. Moving over to Court A to send a couple of teams to the championship round.
Cannot wait for that matchup. We've been excited for this one all night long as well, and it's lived up to the billing, mostly because Rice, weathering the storm after an early 7-0 run for UAB, had them on top 12-5. The Owls currently on an 11-0 run. Finally put to an end by Trey Jemison in his second bucket of the night.
Jemison 8 double-doubles on the season to lead this UAB ball club. What a physical player he is down low. Going to be some great battles between him and the Rice big men.
Husseinovic rims this one out. High arcing rebound for Gaines as he goes ahead. Good vision to find Ty Brewer amongst the trees. His lay-in off the glass ties us back up at 16. Evie at the logo. We've seen his range already. I think he won't pull up from the edge of the star.
Well, he's not shy.
No, he is not. Here goes Kendall Sheffield, or Cameron Sheffield rather. Had it knocked away. Skip pass, kicked by Husseinovic out of bounds. Rice 0 of their last 4 from the field after they were red hot to jump out in that 11-0 run. They haven't scored over the last 2 minutes and 7 seconds. This is all a time where Jordan Jelly Walker has not had a whole lot of impact, but that won't last very long. Number 300 in the career for Jordan Walker, becoming just the 17th active Division I player with at least 300 threes in a career.
I think he heard you, Kyle. I'm not making an impact. How about this? His team leads by 3.
By the way, one of the players on that 17th active list with 300 career threes is the man that he's been guarding tonight, and Travis Evie. Gaines picks up the dribble, back to Walker. Usually he'll pull the trigger there, but he did not have his feet set. Doesn't matter, guards inside, open cutter. Taven Lovin down low, and a 9-0 run for UAB to answer. They're back up by 5.
Well, Lovin breaking to the basket, what he does best, but this is what Jelly Walker does best, pulling up from outside the arc, knocking it down, one of the top scorers in the country. Then with the assists into Taven Lovin, he can crash down low and make things happen.
Here you see the leading scorers in Conference USA, and it's Jordan Jelly Walker all alone at the top. A full 3 points over Denver Jones. You see Quincy Oliveri down there a couple spots later than the Player of the Year, Tyler Perry. Third in Division I, and it's honestly surprising he wasn't a little bit higher on that list, because 23 points normally will get you at the top of the list in Division I scorers.
Amazing year by him, back-to-back tremendous efforts on the season. He just keeps getting better by the day.
And you can see the work ethic, Chris. Even you and I, prior to the game, we were taking our final notes. We were getting ready for the open. And who was the last player on the court for the pregame shoot-around? It was Jelly Walker. What was he doing? He was putting up shots from nearly 25, 30 feet away, long threes, and he was drilling all of them. Then he sprints off into the locker room, a pregame tradition he does both at home and on the road. Evie travels with it prior to the floater dropping. Another turnover for Rice as their scoreless streak continues, now up to 3.5 minutes. Their 6th turnover of the night. Buffin found Jamison underneath, and he lofts it high over the top of his own backcourt. Over and back violation for Andy Kennedy's bunch.
Walker trying the long jump routine to bring it back into play, but a little too much distance to travel. And Rice inbounds from just in front of Andy Kennedy on that UAB bench.
To inbound, he goes all the way back for Evie. Little token pressure there from Buffin. Evie, the jump pass. Now to Fiedler. Rocket feed, and he got it rejected. Eric Gaines skies above for the block off the board. Now Walker tried to turn that defense into points. Fiedler again, not scared of Gaines, nor Jemison, and he kisses that one in.
Fiedler had about a half-second alone before Jemison entered the picture, but was not about to be stopped by him. Kept his composure and put it in.
Here's Gaines on the offensive end to a cutting Jemison fouled. And a timeout on the floor. Eric Gaines in a game that features 2 of the top 3 offenses in Conference USA, showing off a little defense with the block that you can actually play along the way. This is where Chris Bykowski and I played, or spent, I said played, I gave it away, spent most of our time prior to the tournament.
It's a good place to go. How about the Oregon Trail? That is way before your time, but it was always so disheartening. You got to the end of class, and your character dies of dysentery. Memories.
Jordan Walker creating plenty of memories. That's his 3rd triple of the first half. 9 points for Jelly Walker. On 3 of 6 shooting from downtown. Turnover. This one poked away. UAB with all alone off of the turnover, and Tony lays it in. Blazers forcing turnovers and turning it into points has become a reoccurring theme here on this 14-2 run. Trying to figure out how we can work a video game reference every couple seconds for the remainder of this stretch. If only you could have the Pac-Man sound on a turnover like that.
Well, in a situation like this, you can hit the turbo button heading to the rack for UAB and Tony.
Nicely done.
Used to work those controls in calling football games. You hit the circle button for a spin move. I didn't play enough NBA 2K to really know what all the buttons do.
See,
Madden's pretty much the end of my usefulness on it.
You have to go all the way back to the March Madness video games. That's where I had it started. Travis Evie from way downtown.
Could they be coming back soon?
I hope so.
I might actually get a gaming system when the NCAA games return.
I cannot wait. That one underneath, clearing out some space is Davis. He's played well on the defensive end, working with a couple fouls. But now it's a 16-2 run. And the first bench points for UAB. Evie Off a broken play, back to Cameron Sheffield. Sheffield's three ends the run. Rice back on the board.
Sheffield has such a high motor, and they're going to need that kind of performance tonight. A game that really took a lot out of the Owls yesterday in that opening round, coming down to the last milliseconds. Blazers come in fresh.
Whistle this time on UAB, even though the Blazers bench very happy with the effort. Buffin called for his first personal. You mentioned the motor from Sheffield. He's continued that these last 2 years for Scott Para. Yeah, 32 games played, all 32 games last year. Had 9 starts, worked into the starting lineup, and ever since being a part of that starting lineup, he's played an impact. Fiedler camps out up top, where he's comfortable distributing. Handed it off to Mason, who just got flattened by Buffin. And they're going to call the foul on Mason because he was the one that was trying to grab at the basketball in a desperation heave. That's his third. He can't believe it.
Go to the other end, and that'll lead to shots now. 7 fouls deep with Buffin heading to the line.
And honestly, I think that's just more of an unfortunate break for Mason than anything. He was just trying to grab the ball from Fiedler, and he ran straight into a brick wall. That is KJ Buffin, who makes the front end of the 1-and-1. So Rice having to go to the bench with Makai Mason. And his third foul of the first half. Still plenty of time left here in the period. Oliveri reels in the board. Rice known to get most of their production from the starting lineup. Only 16% of Rice's minutes come from the bench. That's next to last in the country. Only Marshall has fewer minutes from their bench, as they call a goaltender.
The bench barely exists there for Scott Para this season, and he admitted earlier in the week to us that he's had thoughts that maybe he's worked these guys a little too hard. But early in the season, that's the group that got them to 15-5. So now you stick with the players that got you to this point. You're not going to start going deeper into the bench at this point in the season.
Oliveri on the jump stop. Low feed, fumbled by Fiedler. Jemison with the takeaway. 11 turnovers in the first half for the Rice team. Buffin, back iron. Jemison, second chance. Underneath he goes, but he walked with it. This is not the type of game you and I expected. We expected more up and down the floor, high flying. Two teams that average great amount of points per game. Rice 77, third in the conference. But against UAB this year, they've only averaged 55 a game, which is about 22 less than their season average.
We could see spurts of that. Still a lot of basketball left to be played. A lot of different styles on display tonight, even just breaking down the different stanzas. You go from timeout to timeout, and depending on how coaches draw it up, you could force a team into a different way of playing.
4.5 left. Jemison off the ball fake. Inside he goes. Blocked out of bounds. Nice job by Sheffield. There's that motor you spoke of.
Yeah, it's got to be full go the rest of this game. Trying to launch 100% after a draining game the night before. But you rest in April, right? Right. Got to keep going. You lose one more game, your season's over. Rice 17-14 on the season. They know it'll take 3 more wins to extend this thing.
Jelly Walker steps out of bounds. Just barely hits the boundary to give it back to Rice. You also made a declaration earlier that every possession matters. Every one of those turnovers, Rice will look to capitalize on, because so far UAB has not allowed a large window of opportunity. Oliveri back to Sheffield off the skip pass.
Rice really needs to value the possession here. 6 turnovers in the last 4 minutes. Nearly made it 7, but they recover, and Evie puts it through.
The active hands from UAB defensively made that a bit dicey on the pass from Fiedler underneath his third. And Evie connected. Here's Jemison again. Foul, bucket good. Sheffield came over the top, made some late contact, but the senior hometown product from Birmingham puts it in for UAB.
Jemison has had a great stretch in crunch time this season, averaging nearly 11 points per game over the past 16 contests. He's up to 6 in this one, and his team leads by 8.
Rice marches here. UAB was a part of the NCAA tournament a year ago, and the ESPN Tournament Challenge is back because of it. Scan the QR code to download the app and play the #1 bracket game on your phone. Create a group, invite your friends, get ready for the madness, and sign up for the ESPN Tournament Challenge today and test your bracketology knowledge right now. Or maybe not right now, but after Selection Sunday. Chris Mykowski next to me just downloaded the app.
I've been ignoring you so far this week.
It's okay.
But here on our 6th game of the tournament together, I decided I'd finally listen, get it on my phone. I do every year. You know, delete it after the championship game, clear a little space, but ready for Selection Sunday.
It's good for 11 months to not have it on your phone. But then you get it back for March, a little bit into April, and then make it work from there. Ball 3 off the mark. That one from Cameron Sheffield.
I think we should start a group of ESPN Plus broadcasters.
I like that idea. Got a couple of them around the area we could go to. Anybody out there? Talk to us on Twitter. We'll get on there. Make sure it's all good to go. Travel called against UAB, so it goes back over to Rice. UAB, the 3 seed, 23 wins on the campaign. Another 20-win season for Andy Kennedy. 3 years, 3 20-win campaigns. What a job he's done at his alma mater in such a short amount of time.
He was trying to do the TV thing, working alongside other folks at ESPN, decided, I'd rather do the coaching, try to mold these young men. Probably a better career choice.
I think he was great on the TV side of things, but he definitely made the right decision. As you can see what he's done these last couple seasons with the Blazers. Nice job there by Oliveri, only his 2nd bucket of the ball game. Baseline, Walker had it taken away. Oliveri with the steal. Now Evie brings it down. He can pull up from there. Instead, he'll drive on Ty Brewer. Met with a double team on the low block. And he finally found some help with Max Fiedler. Evie was on the cut. Fiedler passed it up. Now on the give and go. Back up top. Extra pass. Travis Evie for 3, and he drills it.
Thing of beauty. The movement for Rice and the finish. Nothing but nylon.
Scott Barra and green light U. It's much easier to go through a green light when you have an open lane in front of you, right? Pass it around, find the open lane, and hit the hot shooter. They get another defensive stop, and all of a sudden the Owls, thanks to 4 makes in their last 5 shots, are only down by 4. Can cut it to a single possession here. Oliveri, give, go. Fiedler met by Jemison. His turnaround, hook shot drops. 2-point game in Frisco.
A post that's so capable of making plays for Rice. Great distributor, but when he gets some space down low, finds his way over a defender and puts in another 2 points.
Here's the run that Rice has been looking for. Oliveri just got called for the foul on the 3-point try. So Walker will go to the line with 3 freebies on the way.
Another look from the outside. Walker posts up, and just from down low, coming down into Oliveri. Innocent foul, second personal.
And it looked like
UAB with that was able to end a 7-0 Rice run.
It looks like Oliveri got bumped into Walker because Fiedler was rolling off of the screen right underneath, and Walker went over the top. So did Oliveri, which is what you're supposed to do as a defender. You want to go over the top of the screen, but got underneath. And of course, as a defender, you have to allow a shooter to land, and even if it's close, the shooter a lot of time will get the benefit of the doubt. 3 straight free throws, all dropped for Jelly Walker. He has 12 in the first half to lead all scorers. And not only does it end a run, but it pushes UAB's lead back to 5. Here's Evie. Locked it to Fiedler on the cut, but he got it rejected by Jimison.
Pleading for the goaltend.
I don't think the ball got high enough. On the other side, KJ Buffin with the 3. Blazers closing the first half in style on both ends. Oliveri with the trap, turnover. Gaines ahead of the pack. Hill locked it. The slam! 10-point lead for UAB. The Blazer faithful going wild at the Star. What an end to the first half. An 8-0 run in the matter of seconds for the Blazers. And we're through 20.
Jelly Walker, 12 points. But Tony with the biggest highlight of this half of basketball. Let's get it up to the man for the alley-oop. Flush.
+1 as he's got a dozen points through the first 20 minutes of play. Rice has been working the assist game. That's not necessarily out of the ordinary for the Rice Owls. And Max Fiedler, who led the conference in assists, he's also 4 of 5 from the field to get to his 9 points on the outing. But it's UAB on the strength of an 8-0 run over the final 57 seconds of the first half that lead it by 10. 40-30 our score from Frisco, Texas, and quarterfinal action of the Conference USA Basketball Championships. Alongside Chris Maikowski, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We have Ashley Pickle down on the sideline. We'll hear from her in just a matter of moments. As Rice will start with the basketball, Makai Mason, who sat for much of that first half because of 3 fouls, is back in the game, and he feeds it outside to Travis Evie.
That's the recipe for a comeback for Rice. That 3-point excellence, the distribution from Fiedler, a lot of pieces that can get the Owls back in this ballgame.
Evie now 23 games this season with multiple triples nailed. He's got 4 tonight to lead all shooters. The duel between him and Walker has been phenomenal. Sheffield trying to add his name to the list, but this one rings out. Both teams entering the halftime break shot 50% from the field. And as we have our first whistle, let's check in on the baseline with Ashley Pickle.
Hey, Kyle, yeah, talking to Scott Barrow with Rice, he said, you know what? Turnovers, we have to quit doing it. He looked me dead in the eye, and he was like, 13, too many. And I was like, yes, sir, coach, I got you. Then on the other side of the ball for UAB, guess what they were saying? The 13 turnovers, fantastic. We love it, but what did we do? We didn't really do anything with it. You have to get that productivity if you're going to force the turnovers. So it's a game of turnovers. We'll see who is right heading into the second half, guys.
Locking down possession, crucial for both teams. Like you said, UAB +6 in the turnover category. However, they're even in points off turnovers.
Yeah, that is the big key right there, absolutely. And in the paint, UAB surprisingly leading by 10 with Fiedler down low now. I know he likes to distribute a lot, but only 12 for Rice altogether down there in the paint.
That was turnover number 14 for the Rice Owls. UAB a chance to push the lead back to double figures. Walker Walker lost his footing for a split second. Got it back quickly. Top of the key. His jumper just short from inside the line, but an offensive rebound and Jimison's putback balloons the lead to 11. And Evie is fouled.
Putbacks is really, highlighting what he does well. You look at any advanced scout against this UAB team, and you have to box him out and not allow him to have those kind of opportunities.
Evie. Extra pass, free throw line extended, drilled by Makai Mason. You mentioned the recipe, Chris. Rice is one of the top three-point shooting teams in the country. Second in the conference in terms of threes per game. They're going to climb their way back in, and it might be from deep. Here's the answer for Brewer. Off the back iron. And a foul over the top as Lovin rolls over.
I don't think it's might be. I think it's have to with Rice. Fiedler is going to be able to distribute and find open men. Yes, you're going to feed it down into him on occasion, but it's the strength of these shooters from the outside. That is how Rice finds a way to advance today.
7 triples by Rice already. Season average is 9. Fiedler with a tight window pass to Mason, and he ricochets that one out of bounds. Smart play by Mason as he lost his footing on the baseline, but instead of stepping out, he forces a reset.
Fiedler not quite as crisp as he was in other parts of the season, although that's a nice crisp pass to Evie. But for the last 2.5 weeks, he's been out of practice. Just up until a couple of days ago, he still taped it up on that bad ankle and gone in games, but been watching from the sidelines every time the team has worked out. It's tough to replicate what he does. Darn near impossible for Scott Para and his staff to make that happen with him watching.
The only player in the country to average at least 10.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Uh-oh, there's a spill. KJ Buffin goes into the front row. Luckily, nobody in that seat. Gets a little encouragement from the young fan sitting in that front row. You want to be close and personal to the action. That's one way to do it.
Just a couple of seats available on the floor on this side. Packed to the gills over on Court A with North Texas in the house this evening. We've got a couple of fans taking advantage of the opportunity to watch both games at the same time. Those sweet spots, sections 106 and 206.
That's a foul on Mason. He only played 7 minutes in the first half because he had 3 fouls. Now he has 4. So one of the top scorers on this Rice team that has struggled to score as we take a look at some of those sweet spots. Great fans on the other side in green are watching North Texas, who has a massive lead over Louisiana Tech at the moment.
And the fans wearing green in those middle sections could be UNT fans, could be UAB fans.
Could be. North Texas has a light shade of green. You can get down into the forest variety, but that's what UAB really goes with. That blazer green. Foul drawing by Rice. The drive in gets KJ Buffin. That's the 3rd for KJ. Rice keeping track with UAB, at least to start this second half, but neither team able to string together a run in the first 5 minutes or so. Fiedler to a cutting Evie, no. Goes right back up top to Oliveri. He'll split a couple defenders, lost it out of bounds on the baseline. No foul as Buffin, very dangerous, working with 3 fouls, stayed planted underneath. That could have very easily been number 4.
Absolutely could have been. Doing a really nice job, looked up and kind of looking around for a whistle. Thankful not to get one other than to signal ball out of bounds. Blazer ball.
Oliveri on the right side. Only 4 points to his total. He hasn't been held in the single digits since November 15th against Middle Tennessee when he finished with 5 points. Jemison very vocal following that possession. We've got an 8-point game as Fiedler's called for his second personal. UAB trying to punch their ticket to the semifinals. Point game, UAB on top of Rice. Just under 16 to play in the second half of action. There's a look outside Ford Center. That's the Tostitos Championship Plaza. We are inside the football home of the Dallas Cowboys, their practice facility, a 12,000-seat facility that has turned into simultaneous basketball action. We are on Court B. Court A currently housing a North Texas lead over Louisiana Tech. It's the Blazers and Jemison going to the free throw line. And the senior out of Birmingham, the hometown product, and transfer from Clemson, misses the first.
We get to shut down Court Best for the week. All the remaining games over on Court A.
The second one made for Jemison. Now 69 made free throws this season. A career high. Nearly a turnover. Sheffield had to come back to the basketball to avoid a steal for Jelly Walker. Here's Fiedler on the perimeter. Dribble handoff to Oliveri. They set Fiedler back up on the elbow, guarded by Jemison. He's been pestered all day long. Evie with 3 to shoot. Has to go over Jemison, and he'll send that one off the backboard, never hit rim. As the buzzer goes off and the shot clock violation against the Owls.
Well, that was unfortunate that a 6'11" human being was out on the wing to elevate next to your jump shot. Hard to get around that.
For as efficient as Fiedler has been all season long, he's been negated for the most part tonight. He's still put up good numbers. He has the assist totals. He's got 5 already. He has 9 points, but he's just not been as effective because of how Trey Jemison has played him on the defensive end.
Yeah, it's a tough assignment for anyone, but Jemison has handled it very, very well. I think every coach looks at what Fiedler can do, and they're a little bit perplexed because he is so good at finding open men, and unlike any other big man in this conference, and really few big men around the country can affect a game the way that Fiedler does.
This one off the mark, back over to the Blazers. Jelly Walker working with 12 points on 3 of 6 from downtown, looking for his 4th, and he hits it. Just when he's a little quiet, you can expect him to get right back in the mix.
Sheffield did a great job providing a hand in the face, and when Walker beat him on that, just that look of, what more can I do against this guy? I'm absolutely playing him the right way, but he's still finding ways to score.
Here he goes again, looking for number 5, and he hits it. Back-to-back triples for Jelly Walker, feeling it inside the Ford Center. Jordan Jelly Walker had 41 in their season finale in a double OT win over Charlotte. He only has 15 in this one, but he's got 15 big ones. Back-to-back triples for Jelly Walker. UAB up big. Active players in Division I basketball to hit 300 career threes. Travis Evie and Jelly Walker putting on a show in this one. 9 combined triples. It's Jelly Walker now up to 18 points with his last 3-point make.
So much fun to watch, really worth the price of admission here. But UAB as a team showing why they are one of the expected teams to get into the championship game. I'd call them a really popular pick to win it all.
Euro step from Evie, fouled in the process.
Trendy Tony. Trendy coming out of Birmingham.
It's a good way to put it, because if you really labeled UAB as a true dark horse, that would mean they're under the radar. A lot of people expect this UAB team to make a run because of, one, their experience on the roster. You always look at experience And right now, according to Kim Palm, top 5 in the country in terms of that yearly average of experience on the roster. They have that, and they need a high-end scorer. Jordan Jelly Walker is that.
And a lot of times in this situation, you pinpoint the best player in the tournament, and if he can catch fire, that's enough to guide a team for 3 wins in 3 days. And Walker's been good tonight. He hasn't quite got to that great level. He could break through to truly have a great outing tomorrow next time.
His 11th game this season with at least 5 threes made. Until he's feeling it. Uncorks this one again. Jelly Walker is unconscious.
I think he heard me that time. You're telling me I'm not playing great? I'll show you great over these final 13.5 minutes.
And just after he had the 3-point make, he draws the offensive foul.
Just shaking my head, just in amazement with this young man in front of us.
Now 115 threes on the season for Jelly Walker. UAB as a team is hit 234. That's 49% of their production from deep, coming from one individual in Jelly Walker. Plus, he missed 6 games. Can he continue to add to that? That was probably the most open he's been over these last couple shots, but he saw that one rim out. Offensive rebound. Back out. UAB keeps the possession alive. Gaines spotting up. He'll drive. His lay-in attempt, no good. Oliveri to Fiedler, wide open in the paint, and he'll connect. Now 5 of 6 from the floor for Max Fiedler.
More of that working inside to him, but again, it's Rice needing to catch fire from the outside. Still have 14 points to make up.
Fiedler with 11, 73% on 2-point shots this year. How about Jelly Walker?
How did he get so much space?
At some point, you just have to sit back and wonder. Sit back and enjoy the ride that Jelly Walker is putting on right now.
I'm enjoying it. I think the only people not enjoying it are fans of the Owls.
Now 7 of 11 from downtown. The reason why he's so open, though, is the speed, the acceleration. He's so agile that when the ball's not in his hand, he's able to leave a defender in the dust.
That's how he's creating that space, getting so wide open, despite so much concentration on him from this Rice defense. He finds a way to break 3, gets good looks, and he has his UAB team leading 59-42 under 12 minutes to go.
As a family-owned, faith-based company,
2023 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships is presented by Total Care. Fans having a great time on the Fan Fest on the Plaza. Outside Ford Center, home to the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters. Just off to the right of that screen there, the Omni Frisco, gorgeous hotel hosting many events surrounding this tournament, the Conference USA Championships. Tony will pull up from downtown, sees this one go in and out, but there's the work underneath from Ty Brewer. This UAB team working on the offensive boards and putting up some effort like this is a 2-point game, not a 20-point game.
Well, the book on Brewer, something you highlight and underline is how good he is as an offensive rebounder. Crashes the glass, and this time goes up for the follow and has a chance for the and one.
And he drills it. 20-point advantage, the largest for UAB in the matchup. We mentioned the experience and then the high-level scoring ability, both being reasons that experts and analysts across college basketball like UAB as a pick in this tournament. Another added reason for that is the fact that they're 6th in the country in offensive rebounding percentage. That's a 37% clip throughout the year. They crash the boards tough on the offensive end. They have 7 of those tonight compared to just 1 for Rice.
It's a great attribute for success come tourney time.
Is that a credit to the athleticism, or is that a credit to a coaching style and a culture?
Well, it has to be both. You can't have one without the other. What's the old saying? It's not about the X's and the O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. You have the right personnel to run the system. But if you have great personnel and don't know a good way to win ball games, it has to match up. And it's clearly working for Andy Kennedy and his staff and his UAB ball club. 20-point lead here with 11 minutes to go. Looking towards the semifinals tomorrow. And these guys will have to get back and sleep fast. Shortest turnaround of the season for sure, as they'll wrap this game up after 10 o'clock local time and come back and tip off tomorrow at 2 o'clock local time. Under 24-hour turnaround is certainly rare in college basketball.
Both men's semifinals on CBS Sports Network tomorrow on Court A. The women's side of things will be right back here on ESPN+. Both Chris Mykowski and myself, Kyle Yeomans, will have the call for that one on the women's bracket. Excited about those 2 games, but here on the men's side of things, UAB looking as strong as anybody, but you look across the curtain right now, and North Texas is putting on quite the show over Louisiana Tech as well. So both of these teams, though it might be a quick turnaround, are coming off of wins. It should the scores hold over the last 2.5 minutes.
A rough day for the Louisiana Tech faithful, seeing both their women and their men get eliminated. Some sad folks hitting the highway, Interstate 20. Back to Ruston this evening and tomorrow morning.
Gaines fouled on his elevation in the paint. On Court A, North Texas leading 72-45 over that Louisiana Tech squad. And then, of course, you see the 18-point advantage here for UAB. Now, Rice isn't out of this just yet. But, of course, Scott Parrot's bunch, should they want to chip away at this league, are going to have to do so quickly. And then, of course, we saw just how quickly UAB can put the pedal to the metal at the end of the first half. They scored 8 points in just 57 seconds to take a 10-point lead into the break. Even if Rice climbs their way back, they still have to pass UAB.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that the way that Walker is feeling it right now. As long as he's in the ball game, the Blazers are going full throttle. Once Andy Kennedy decides that Walker's day is done, this game is already going to be out of hand. Rice may be able to put up a few points in garbage time, but it's going to take a monumental effort to slow Walker down. And all the while, you have to get as hot as you've been all season long.
Hitting freebies might be one way for Rice to find a bit of rhythm here down the stretch. Fiedler had a 2-of-2 trip from the line, hit both ends of the 1-and-1 on his last trip. Now he's got another 1-and-1 here. That was the 8th team foul on UAB. Fiedler still with a productive night overall, 13 points to his total. 5 of 6 from the field, 5 assists, just 1 rebound though. And the front end connects here to make it 14. Scott Parra and his Rice Owls with 18 wins on the season. It's already the most since Rice went 23-12 back in 2017. So great season for Rice overall, but as we enter the final 10 minutes, that season very much so in jeopardy. Walker lost the handle, kept it in the front court. 9 to shoot. Far side to Eric Gaines. Gaines thought about the 3, but he'll drive. One last kick outside to Ty Brewer, who desperately puts up a shot. The violation called. Back over to Rice with a defensive stand.
Both the Owls start looking ahead to the future for this ball club, and eligibility-wise, you look up and down the roster, and you don't lose any play. And several of these players have committed to Scott Para and say they are for sure coming back next season. The only wild card in that mix is Quincy Oliveri. He has made it clear to the coaching staff that he, after the Owls are done for the year, he will explore his options and see if he wants to play next year somewhere else. And they have such a great bond, Coach Para and Quincy Oliveri do, that he said he respects the process, and Coach Para, he wants him to do what's best for Oliveri. If it's staying, great. If it's not, they'll honor and respect that and still have that love for each other for the rest of their lives.
That's a bond that as he heads to the bench here with a couple fouls against him. Of course, he'll have that decision to make later on. Right now, in the moment, he's hoping to try and climb back into this thing. But in the day and age of the transfer portal, it's so often that you see talented players explore their options. It's better for the player. It's better for the student athlete because the window is open. The opportunities are there for players to go and explore, but it does make things tougher from a coaching staff standpoint because you don't know what your roster will look like from year to year. Oftentimes, luckily for Rice, it's really just Oliveri. That's the question because Max Fiedler has already said he will return. Travis Evie has already committed to return. So multiple key cogs in this Rice machine are expected to be back, and if that's the case, then you at least have a level of continuity to build off of from an 18-win season like they have this year.
Well, like any decision, it's not just about athletics when it comes to Oliveri potentially going into the portal. He's at Rice University, and the value of that degree over the course of your lifetime, that's going to be part of this decision. Do you decide to continue there, get your degree from that world-class institution, or go elsewhere where you're obviously going to achieve that diploma as well? But just something special about that school in Houston and the reputation that it carries across the country and really around the world.
They call it the Stanford of the South down in Houston, and it is a phenomenal institution. Jelly Walker fouled on the three-point try. He actually exchanged a couple words with Andy Kennedy. I wonder if Andy Kennedy's saying, all right, let's tap the brakes a little bit. We've got this one up by 23. There's a long tournament ahead. Should UAB want to make a run? They've made the run before. They'll have quite the test. Should they hold on, he'll actually check out here. A phenomenal game for Jordan Jelly Walker. We'll see if he even inserts back into this one.
Well, if he doesn't, his night will end just short of 30 points. He's total 27 this evening, so he won't be able to add to this record, but I really enjoyed this stat. He is the first Blazer to score 30 or more points on 8 different occasions. And guess who he passed in the record book? Who had 7? His head coach, Andy Kennedy.
Very good. There's Travis Evie driving in. He's had quite the night. 20 points now for Evie. Highest scoring output for the Rice side. By the way, we have gone final on Court A. So the first leg of the semifinal set as North Texas takes down Louisiana Tech. 74-46 was the final score. Eric Gaines knocks down his first triple of the night to push his total to 4 points.
Benefit from the portal for UAB, picking up Gaines, the former LSU Fighting Tiger.
Husseinovic knocks that one down from the corner.
I think Gaines had a much better time this season than he would have if he stayed in Baton Rouge. What a rough year that was.
Yeah,
the LSU man.
Disappointing year for LSU. UAB, much more success on their side of things. Trey Jimison clearing space out. As his floater from point-blank range falls, and now Rice settling in with the three-point ball. Still 7 minutes left here, but just the body language. Now a timeout called. It really feels like UAB has this one in the bag. 6:54 left. We've still got plenty of time left in the second half, but can Rice make a run as Jimison limps to the bench?
Player of the year in Conference USA. First team all-conference again here in 2023. Seemingly done for the night, at least at the moment, as his Blazers hold on to a 24-point advantage. Alongside Chris Mikoski and Kyle Yeomans, we have Ashley Pickle on the sideline. We'll check in with her toward the end of the ball game. Kicked the ball out of the timeout. Going into the timeout, we saw Trey Jimison, who was back defensively, limping off the floor. Didn't look pretty initially, however, just cramps for Trey Jimison. He was getting some Gatorade, had some of the extra fix-em-up stuff on the sideline to get him back in the game. We'll see if he even reinserts with a 24-point advantage.
No reason to reinsert tonight. The question is he 100% tomorrow? Short turnaround, but getting as much treatment as possible right now. The athletic training staff from UAB, some of the top professionals in the nation.
Coming off his 9th double-double of the season tonight. There's KJ Buffin. They call him Buff. Hit a big three in the latter parts of the first half. Now he has 2 triples, 14 points for KJ Buffin. And a rebound. What's impressed you the most about UAB? Because in a game like this, they're so complete. The shooting percentage, the rebounding, the turnovers forced. They forced 21 turnovers in this game as Buffett connects again, now up to 16 points, but now he's a little limp coming up, and he'll be checked out for Ty Brewer. Looks to be okay. But there's so many elements to this game, Chris, that UAB checked the boxes for. Which one stands out to you the most?
Well, it's Jelly Walker. It's the most impressive part about this team in general. First time I've been able to see him in person this season. I've seen him a couple of times last year, but just continues to amaze. Keeps finding ways to get better, to separate himself. The quickness he has to get away from defenders. It's kind of amazing to see up close and personal. You don't appreciate it quite as much when you're watching on television. And I know everybody out there is enjoying seeing what he can do, but we're a couple of feet away from him with those quick bursts. Just an incredible player who seems to try to will his team to victory every time out, and now he just needs to do it 2 more times for the Blazers to earn back-to-back conference tournament championships and return to the dance.
Here's a look at the slam dunk on the other end for UAB. The feet ahead to Ty Brewer all alone, and you can tell just by the last couple of minutes this one might be in the bag for UAB. They've made a couple substitutions. Free throw missed here. Davis reels in the carom. 80-plus points for the 16th time this year. UAB, who averages 82 a game. Thompson Conference USA putting up those numbers again and holding Rice under 60 points at the moment. It hasn't just been the offense, it's been the combination.
No, really good on the defensive end. They found answers for Fiedler. That's probably the toughest nut to crack in this conference when it comes to scouting an opponent. Just a really different type of student athlete, but they found ways to hold him down. Rice, for its part, not quite on its game when it comes to the three-point stroke, and is the defense that affects that, changing directions on shots, forcing Rice to make some bad decisions. But Travis Evie just could not hit enough for Rice this evening. 20 points, really good, but just not quite enough for Rice to be able to make it tonight. 10th game for him of 20 or more this season. That's how he'll close out his campaign.
This one rattles in, and UAB, even down the stretch here, can't miss as Eric Gaines pushes it to a 31-point advantage, with it being a 31-point lead, Chris. Yesterday, 6 games in the first round of the Conference USA tournament. All 6 games combined for a margin of victory in 6 games between 3 on the women's side, 3 on the men's side. Combined for a total margin of victory of 30 points. UAB is up by 31 as we speak.
We enjoyed those tight ones. Had some really good ones earlier today, too. not everyone can be a classic, Kyle.
UAB dominant in this quarterfinal. Their ticket just 326 away from being punched to semifinal Friday. Who needs the jam when you've got the jelly? 7 threes on 11 shots from downtown, 27 points, not even close to his season high or his career best, but he was everything and more for this UAB Blazers squad tonight.
They had some jams. They've got gem. The Blazers have all of the necessary ingredients for a delicious victory this evening, and they'll dine in the semifinals tomorrow.
A date with North Texas on the line. UAB lighting it up from downtown with 11 threes tonight, but they'll go up against the #1 scoring defense in the conference, the #1 scoring defense in the country. Grant McCaslin's Mean Green, as they ended up with a 74-46 win over Louisiana Tech. Now, North Texas won both games against UAB this season in Birmingham, 63-52, but Jelly Walker did not play in that game. In their second meeting in Denton up at the Super Pit, about 25 minutes from where we sit here in Frisco, it was a 2-overtime thriller where Jelly Walker did indeed play, and it was as back and forth as you could ask for. I was blessed enough to be on the call for that game. Might be the best basketball game I've seen all season long, maybe in the last couple of years. That semifinal matchup that you can watch on CBS Sports tomorrow afternoon might be must-watch television. I'm not even going to say might be, Chris. It is must-watch television between UAB and North Texas.
Well, I appreciate the fact that my press credential works for the early session, even though I'm not calling those games, so I may have to take that one in person. And I think the home court advantage for North Texas, while they're not at the Super Pit, the noise factor will be in the Mean Green's favor in a big way. Those fans showed out in huge numbers to the Star tonight to watch their team knock off Louisiana Tech.
The entire side of Court A in the building packed from about the 50-yard line, or what would be the 50-yard line of the Cowboys practice facility, all the way to the wall was green and white in that 10-2 matchup over Louisiana Tech a little bit earlier in the evening. Andy Kennedy all-time against North Texas, 3-3. As Rice will make their final substitutions. Cameron Sheffield, Max Fiedler, Quincy Oliveri, Travis Evie, all taking a seat for Rice as the Owls, in the final 2 minutes of this one, make full-fledged substitutions. UAB in what will be their 7th straight win, moving to 8-1 against the Rice Owls all-time under Andy Kennedy. That one off the mark on a nice step inside, and the Blazers can't connect. But speaking on the Rice Owls team, we spoke earlier on just how exciting next year and the possibilities are for this Owls program are. Anytime you can build around a player as unique as Max Fiedler, you're going to have some success.
The identity never changed for this team. They had a great beginning to the season, a really rough ending to the regular year, but it's never a culture problem under Scott Para and with these young men. Losing stinks. It wears on you, but he said this is the same team when they were winning lots of games as it was when they hit that rough stretch. It was never a problem with attitude or culture. An amazing group, and it's because of the leader. It reflects what he does in that locker room, on that practice court, and on the game gym. You see the hug right there between Scott Para and Jake Liepert. And it's rough to end the season. The team will never be exactly the same. There'll be new pieces added next year. A lot of people are going to return. But at the same time, there'll still be some tears shed to see this particular campaign come to a close.
As there always is. It's tough to get down to the wire, especially one where it was so entertaining to watch. Fiedler, by the way, the only player in school history and in Conference USA history to record totals of 1,000 points, 800 rebounds, and 300 and 75 assists throughout a career. So that career will continue. Rice will be back, but this night belongs to UAB. The Blazers start their run and their defense of the Conference USA tournament title in style with a massive night scoring the basketball. That one would have pushed it to 90. Not in the cards. It'll stick at 87 for the top scoring offense in Conference USA. And they got what they wanted. They wanted North Texas. They have them tomorrow in what'll be a classic of a semifinal, 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern on Court A. The Mean Green and the Blazers set for a battle of green and a battle in the title game. Andy Kennedy and the UAB Blazers win this one 87-60 over Rice.